Let me tell you, for African Americans in the United States, there is, everybody's familiar with this, right? There's this gender ratio problem gap. For every 100 women, there's only 88 men. And in some places, only 80 men for every 100 women.
Wow.
That is when it's your age and younger. When you get to my age with the things that tend to take Black men out of the desirable category of becoming a mate, you've got long-term incarceration, you've got homicide, you've got illness. So in fact, what happens in all levels of relationship categories, if you're, whether it's married or just in a committed relationship, you have almost, you have a majority now. It's 51% of African Americans, male or female, will never, ever marry. Okay.
Wow.
We have the lowest rate of marriage. We have the highest rate of divorce. We have the lowest incidence of remarriage. We live as a ethnic group. We live single lives alone without a partner longer than any other ethnic group in this country. I got there's 4 girls in my family, 2 boys. They're long-term, 30 plus years married. All the girls are single.
So what is it? Why are women just, are Black women just not putting up with the shit? Is that it? Like why are the men getting married and the women not?
Most of the research says that it is a byproduct of a long structural history to destroy relationships of people of color. And the thing is with racist patriarchy, white supremacist patriarchy, the way they designed it and the way they inculcated it and how it's been around for us for 400 years in this country, it works really well. So let me give you a very specific example. One of the first things that they did when they brought slaves is they said you can never marry, right? You cannot marry. So you start out where the traditional role of what you would think of in a relationship forever, that men provide and women sort of bear children and raise children and create social support network, never happened. The system of slavery made Black men and Black women equal. They were all out there picking cotton, working all day long. Plus the woman had to, do whatever she had to do to feed people. Plus she was, as an African-American woman, for hundreds of years, you had no right to resist the rape or abuse of not only white men, but also Black men. And so now we have this sort of reputation as being, resting bitch face, or Black women are, the reason that part of the psychology of white supremacist patriarchy is emasculating Black men. And the way they do it is to tell you that your woman is too masculine. Right? Because marriage set up in the eyes of the way white people have structured it is that the man is the head of or Christianity or whatever, men are the head of the household. But if your wife is out there earning as much money or more money than you, then look at you. What kind of man are you?
Wow.
And this has really gotten into the psyche of men, and women just had to get used to, because otherwise your Black children would never eat. Understand? So we just get up and get it done because we freaking had to. It's a very strong thread about why we have dysfunction in our individual relationship, which leads over into how our relationship with how we raise our children, which inevitably bleeds over into our civic engagement and how we deal with our community. So for me, it starts at the level of loving myself, or trying to be clear about who you are so that you can appreciate yourself and not feel the shame that this culture tries to impose upon you. Because what patriarchy and white supremacy tries to tell you is like, you are the problem, instead of the structure or the system is never the problem. You don't take enough responsibility. You commit crimes, y'all get locked up. You have children out of wedlock, y'all don't get enough education. That's why you can't make enough money. B freaking S. It is a structure that sets you back from all of that by design. Because, and we know this because even if you look at women and men, African Americans with the highest rates of education, they're still earning, 20%, 30%, 40% less than their white counterparts. So it is a structural issue. It's not a personal responsibility issue.
Ooh. Okay, Lynette. I didn't expect all that on this episode.
You ask me why are women they're just not really. I'm like, no, that really isn't the issue. And so I think what happens is it's like in way of advice for talking to people, the reason because I didn't know this, I'm like, I'm running around with chicken. I'm very disappointed. I'm very frustrated. I'm like, I'm just sitting like you going like, what the heck is going on? I don't get it. And I'm thinking, oh, it's because I'm older. Remember, okay, let's talk about relationships. Friends, lovers, whatever. It all follows a particular process, a staged process. First, there has to be a pool of people for which that you have to say, I want to be friends with you, or I want to screw you, or whatever, right? So there has to be a pool of available people. I just told you, we have this gap, the available pool, and as you age and men begin to die off, that pool gets teeny tiny. All right? And so it's not so much that Black women give up. It's like they're just like, I just don't need the rat race, because then you're looking at the next stage, availability, moves to, in that available pool, somebody has to find you attractive enough. So men are, sort of colloquially, they're very visual. Now, if I stand next to you and I'm 59, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I'm 59. I'm 59, I stand next to somebody who's 39. What guy in the world wants a 59-year-old compared to a 39-year-old?
Well, that's the thing. I thought eventually as you get older, you value different things. It's not just
no,
looks anymore.
Men never give up on the taste of what looks good. And neither do women, frankly, Excuse me. We don't give up on, but still, whatever the attractiveness is. And so, this business about and for women, we in this culture, patriarchy. One is the white supremacist stuff. The other is the patriarchy that says that men make the rules and have a power and authority over you. So what part of patriarchy does for us is it becomes a standard of beauty, which is the equivalent of whiteness in this culture. Okay, so you're always like, okay, I'm a Black woman, strike. The other thing is attractiveness, youth. Oh, 59. The second you're out of your childbearing years, it becomes like, ask any woman who's an actress in Hollywood and they'll tell you. They just sort of fade away. I mean, Meg Ryan was as cute as a button, right? She was in all those movies when she was perky and blonde. You seen Meg Ryan in the last 15 years? Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. So the thing is, it's like, so aging and skin color are associated with unattractiveness. There's I don't know who it was, but one of the feminist suffragette things in the turn of the last century, they came and this Black woman, no, this white lady said, I don't know who it was. She said, no matter how far a white woman falls, like into prostitution or whatever, a Black woman can never get as high as a white woman will fall.
Wow. Woo.
There's a lovely anthology I've read when I was in college. I still have it and I still look at it. It's one of the best books I've ever read. And the title says it all. The title is All Blacks Are Men, All Women Are White, but Some of Us Are Brave.
Wow, that's an interesting title.
You get it? Oh, right. Mm-hmm. Like in the culture, we're not seen as feminine. We don't meet that standard of being, we can't ever be feminine because we're, and so a lot of that when you're putting in your rate on the, when you're applying, what do you call it? When you're filling out those dating things and you put your race down, there are a certain segment of people who are going to skip over you because they are not going to be interested in the texture of your hair or their whatever weird ideas about what you might smell like or feel like. your pubic hair feels like, trust me, I've had all of these experiences.
What?
The color of the inside of your vagina, I mean, everything becomes very sticky. When you're interracially dating, all of that stuff comes up and becomes an issue. But anyway, what's the matter?
You being real, I love it.
Well, okay, so let me finish. So there was availability, then somebody has to find you attractive. Then if somebody finds you attractive and they're like, then it becomes an attachment relationship. They're like, I'm committing. We're now moving in, we're dating, we're doing something, right? And so an attachment situation in America, at least, I don't know how it works in other parts of the world. It is what they call an exchange relationship, right? It's like people exchange, like, what can I benefit? How do I benefit from being this? I have to have a reason for wanting to commit to you, to give up all others for the sake of you. I have to get something. I have to not lose more than I'm getting.
Right.
And it's hard at this age when you've worked for 30 or 25, 30, 40 years. You may have your retirement is upcoming. Do you want to maybe have to split that with some new person? It's tough. Where you might have teenagers or young grandchildren or something that you else, or parents who are dying that you have to deal with. There are pressures when you are in middle age or moving on to a later stages of middle age or advanced age that you don't have when you're young. It's and you have to consider maybe your children don't like Joe or whatever. It's just a whole different ball game about what gets in the way of attaching. And then you have to think, I'm 55 or 60 or 50. I got maybe 10 years, 20 years to get it to a place where it's longer term. Do I want to deal with people as they are? Because inevitably, even if you're doing what they call productive aging, which means that you're taking care of yourself, you look good, you're fit. When you get to a certain age, all of that's going to stop no matter what. Is that enough time? There are people who invest 30 years in a relationship and they get to that point and they're like, I'm out. Can you get there with somebody when you got maybe a 5, 10, 15-year window? Is it worth it?